I never believed that love could feel like war until I lived it. In the beginning, everything between us felt magical. The world seemed softer, kinder when she was around. Her laughter lit up the room. Her eyes held a spark that made me believe we could conquer anything together. We spent countless hours talking about our dreams, our fears, even our silly childhood memories. I thought I had found someone who could be my safe harbor, someone I could build a life within peace and understanding. But life has its own way of peeling back the layers, revealing truths we don't always want to see. As time passed, a pattern began to emerge, subtle at first, then impossible to ignore. Every conversation seemed to carry the potential to turn into a debate. Every misunderstanding, no matter how small, grew into an interrogation. She needed answers, not just apologies or reassurances, but full, detailed confessions. If I phrased something poorly, she would seize on it and ask, "What exactly did you mean by that?" If I forgot something minor, like a casual comment from days ago, she would drill into it until I admitted I was wrong, careless, inattentive. At first, I tried to adapt. I told myself relationships require work. I reasoned that maybe I wasn't being attentive enough. Maybe if I communicated more clearly, more carefully, the arguments would stop. I loved her, after all. Wasn't it worth the effort? But it didn't stop. It only grew worse. Arguments started over the smallest things: where to eat, what word I used in a text, even how long I took to reply. No detail was too small to escape scrutiny. I felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells, terrified that any misstep would trigger another round of questions, accusations, and demands for explanation. I'm a peaceful person by nature. I hate conflicts. I value harmony, kindness, and forgiveness. When disagreements happen, I believe in stepping back, breathing, letting go of the need to be right. But with her, letting go was never an option. To her, every disagreement needed to be unpacked, dissected, and laid bare until someone admitted guilt, until I admitted guilt. At first, I thought it was about the issues themselves. I thought if I just answered patiently, if I just apologized sincerely enough, it would heal something between us. But I slowly came to realize it wasn't about the issues at all. It was about the need to win, to be reassured of control, to make sure no fault rested on her side. The love that once felt like a sanctuary started to feel like a courtroom. Every interaction had a judge, a prosecutor, and a defendant, and I was always the one on trial. I began to suffocate. It's a subtle kind of suffocation, not like someone suddenly cutting off your air, but more like being trapped in a small, windowless room where the oxygen runs out little by little, and you barely notice until you can't breathe at all. I stopped laughing as much. I stopped sharing as freely. Every word I spoke, every action I took, was filtered through an anxious second-guessing. Will this upset her? Will this be twisted into another fight? I wasn't myself anymore. I was just a careful version of myself, a watered-down, muted shadow trying desperately to keep the peace. And still, it wasn't enough. I remember one night in particular. We had gone out to dinner. It was supposed to be a relaxing evening, but halfway through the meal, she brought up something I'd said offhandedly a week ago. Something about how I had described a mutual friend. I couldn't even remember the exact words. But she remembered, and she was upset. She wanted to know why I had said what I said. She wanted to know if I secretly thought less of her because of it. She wanted an explanation, a confession. I sat there across from her, the food cooling on the plates between us, feeling like a defendant once again. And at that moment, something inside me broke. I realized I could give her all the explanations in the world. I could apologize until my throat ran dry. I could open my chest and hand her my heart, and still, it would never be enough. Because at the root of it, this wasn't about love anymore. This was about power, about control, about fear. Fear so deep that no amount of love, no amount of patience could ever fully heal it. That night, after we parted ways, I sat alone in my car for a long time, just staring into the dark. I asked myself the question I had been too afraid to face. Is this what love is supposed to feel like? The answer was painfully clear. No, this isn't what love should feel like. Love isn't about interrogation. Love isn't about winning and losing. Love isn't about forcing someone to admit they're wrong just to soothe your own insecurities. True love is about understanding, not perfect understanding, but a willingness to let small things go. It's about forgiving imperfections, choosing peace over pride, choosing connection over conquest. It's about trusting that your partner has good intentions, even when they misspeak or make a mistake. It's about being a soft place for each other to land, not a battlefield to conquer. The next morning, I made a decision. I didn't storm out. I didn't scream or blame. I just asked her to meet me at a small park where we used to walk during our early days together, a place that once had been filled with so much laughter. When we sat down on that old wooden bench, I could already see the tension in her face. She was expecting another round of explanations, another long conversation where she would ask and I would answer. But instead, I simply said, "I can't do this anymore." At first she was confused, then defensive, then angry. She wanted reasons. She wanted a debate. She wanted me to explain every detail, every feeling, every step that had led to this moment. But for once, I didn't engage. I didn't turn it into another courtroom session. I didn't defend myself. I didn't blame her. I simply told her the truth. I feel like I can't breathe anymore. I feel like I'm losing myself. I love you, but I can't stay in something that's slowly killing the person I used to be. She cried. I cried. It hurt like hell. Finally, I made the hardest decision I've ever made. I walked away. It broke my heart to leave. I kept wondering if I was being too weak, too dramatic, too unforgiving, but deep down, I knew staying would have been the real betrayal, the betrayal of my own soul. Walking away wasn't easy. I wasn't just walking away from her. I was walking away from all the dreams we had woven together, from the laughter we had once shared, from the tenderness that still lingered in the corners of my mind. But I knew, deep down, that if I stayed, I would lose myself entirely. I left the park that day with a hollow in my chest, but a strange light in my steps. It was the first time in a long time that I had chosen myself, not out of selfishness, but out of survival. Leaving was not a declaration that I had won. It was an acceptance that in a relationship like ours, there could be no winners. Only two broken hearts carrying scars that didn't have to be there. I know she had her own wounds, her own battles I couldn't see. Maybe she needed someone who could fight those battles with her in a way I couldn't. Maybe she needed healing that had nothing to do with me. I hope, wherever she is now, that she finds peace, the peace we couldn't find together. As for me, I am still healing. I'm still learning to trust again, to breathe freely, to believe that love doesn't have to hurt. If you're watching this and recognizing pieces of your own story, I want to tell you something. You are not wrong for wanting peace. You are not selfish for wanting to feel safe, to feel trusted, to feel loved without having to constantly defend yourself. You are not too sensitive for feeling suffocated by someone else's endless need for answers and apologies. Sometimes love isn't enough to fix a relationship. Sometimes love means letting go, not because you gave up, but because you finally chose yourself. And that, in the end, is not losing. It's the bravest kind of victory there is. Thank you for watching. Take good care of yourself. See you next time.